Hello and a warm welcome back to the channel. In this video I'm going to show you how you can force hyacinth bulbs to have that wonderful fragrance throughout the Christmas period. There's nothing better than that heady, intoxicating scent of hyacinths in flower. They just fill, not even a room, they fill the whole home with wonderful fragrance. It's something that we're all familiar with growing in the spring, but did you know you can force hyacinth bulbs and grow them indoors and get them to flower at specific times when you want them to flower? This is traditionally done for Christmas flowering, and for that we need to have a few materials at hand. Firstly, you need to get your hyacinth bulbs from a place where you can see on the label it will say indoor bulbs. This just means that these have been pre-treated. In terms of what the pre-treatment is, these bulbs have undergone a period of cold which mimics their winter naturally, and then when you do this rest of the process you are then trying to mimic what would happen normally in nature, but normally you would get them flowering in spring, and in this case we're getting them to flower during December or even January. So you've got your bulbs. You're going to need either a pot to grow them into, in which you place compost, but you can also grow these in vases in water, and these are specific hyacinth vases. You can see that there's water in the base, but there's this nice fluted top in which the hyacinth bulb can just sit inside there. The roots will grow down into the water and the shoots will go upwards. Handling hyacinth bulbs, they can be toxic to skin and they can cause irritation, so it is always wise when handling bulbs to pop on some gloves. So I'm going to pop them on right now. So with regards to the vase method, I've already filled these partway through with water. And what all you need to do is with your bulb, so make sure when you're buying the bulbs, give them a squeeze test and make sure that they're nice and solid. If any of them are mushy, leave that packet behind and choose another one. And what you need to be doing, it's dead easy, your hyacinth bulb there, and you just literally place it on top. So as you can see from that, the water is just slightly below. So what I'm going to do is, you want it so it's not touching, but it is directly below. So it's a bit of a juggling act. So just pop that down. So it's just barely, just slightly below where the bulb is. If you cover the bulb with the water, you do have a tendency of having them rotting off. So just be very careful. So in terms of growing hyacinths in vases, that's as simple as it gets. In terms of planting, if planting's the right term. And again, in these ones I'm going to top that up a little bit with water, just so it's just below the neck, and then this just pops right inside, and just try and get it as straight as you can, and that's it. And then the last one, and just to make sure, you'll see there's a flattish base of the bulb, so that's the bottom bit, and the pointy bit is where the shoots are going to come from. So let me just pop some more water in here, get it up to that line, and then in they pop, and just position it so that they're nice and straight. Okay, so that is the vase bit done. So I'm going to go through the process of growing them in a container as well, and then I'll show you what we do to further get them prepared. So in these ones I've chosen this beautiful one, which is a nice one called Delft Blue, and for the ones I'm going to grow in a container I've chosen Pink Pearl, and both of these, like I've said, it does say on the packet that they're indoor and prepared, so they have been pre-chilled prior to doing the rest of the process. So I will say, if you are going to grow in a container, because you can get all kinds of really decorative containers to grow bulbs in for indoor displays, and I've just chosen one that I've been able to find, and this is a lovely ceramic one with a nice imprint of a snowflake. So really festive. It's going to look really good when it comes to the Christmas period. But I do suggest, if you're growing them in containers without holes, that you definitely use bulb fibre. It's one of those things that is much better if you've not got the drainage holes. This particular one is a peat-free formulation made of coir, and all we need to do is just place some of this in the bottom of this container. And just firm it down slightly. So I'm growing these beautiful pink pearl. Okay. Now I do have 3 in the pack, but I'm only going to use 2, and that's because of the size of the container. You do want to have a little bit of space, so you can pack them in, but make sure that they're actually not touching. When they're touching, they do have a tendency to try and rot, and these will swell a little bit once you do get some water in. So just place enough of the compost in, and what you're going to be doing with these is just planting them so that their neck is just popping out, so just like that. And I will place a little bit more compost around. I'm just going to squeeze in 2 in this container, and then just pop a bit more of the compost just around them. And then just lightly firm them in. So you want them just so the necks are just showing out like that. So something like that. And then what we're going to do then is just give these a light water, just to settle them in. So just water all around the compost, just to get those settled. That should be fine. So now we've got that potted up and we've got the vases done, I'm going to show you the next process. The next stage to force hyacinth bulbs is to place these as they are in somewhere which is cool and dark. So somewhere like a shed, a garage, a cellar, a pantry, somewhere like that, where they're going to be excluded of light and it's going to remain pretty cool. In order to keep them dark, you can use a box. So I've just got a box here which have recently had some plants come in. So all we're going to do is just literally place these inside the box, just like so. And just keep that closed. And you're going to leave them like this in this cool situation for around 8 to 10 weeks. But in the meantime, I do suggest that you keep an eye on them and make sure that when the water does start to go down in the vases, that it's just topped up. And also when you start to feel the compost in the one with the pot, just make sure it remains consistently on the moist side, but not overwatered and not waterlogged. These will just tick away nicely over those weeks, and you'll start to see shoots coming out the top. When the shoots get to about 5 centimeters tall, you can then bring them inside the home and allow them to put them on a window ledge and allow the leaves to green, because when you first open them up, they're going to be pretty yellow. You need to make sure that you put them somewhere with a bit of light where they can start to green up. So it takes, when you bring them out from the dark cool place and bring them into the home, around 2 to 3 weeks before they will flower. And temperature does play a part in that. In a warm room they will flower much quicker. In a cooler room they will take a little bit longer. So it's a good idea, if you do want these over the Christmas period, what you can do is do this process and maybe do a few 1 week, a couple of weeks after that point, and then a few more a couple of weeks after that point. And this way you'll get a succession of flowers throughout the Christmas period and also into the new year. I bought these bulbs from a garden centre. Now if you're not able to find these kind of bulbs that have been pre-treated, timing now to be getting them done for in time for Christmas is going to be difficult because they do need that pre-chilling, but that doesn't mean to say that you can't do it and have them flower later on. So all you need to do for this is to pre-treat them yourself, and that is just to buy regular hyacinth bulbs that haven't been pre-treated and place them in the bottom of a fridge for maybe 5 to 6 weeks, and then bring them out of the fridge and then do the process that I've just shown today. They still will need that period of being in the cool and the dark, and then a period where they're in a warmer environment like you're indoors. So it just means that you're not going to lose out if you can't find them online or in your garden centres. It will just mean that they will flower later on in January, early February time. So I'm going to actually leave these in the shed. Now if you can notice all around me, you'll see a bit of a transformation. I've been working really hard trying to get this area of our shed into a potting shed, and as you can see I've got lots of paraphernalia. I've put lots of shelves up. We've utilising this lovely bench which was here originally. I've put a nice blind up. There is a little bit of treatment to do on the window on this side. I still need to do the window with the blind there, and a little bit of painting on that side underneath, but I've managed to get a nice window ledge put up there. It's nice and homey, and it's a lovely environment when the weather's like it is today, quite blustery. You might be able to hear through the microphone the creaking of the roof. That's just something that we can't do anything about, but it is dry and it is fairly warm in terms of what it is like outside. So it is a nice place to come indoors and a nice place to do a lot of the potting on, and a lot of the filming that we usually do in our summer house. So the summer house will then be utilised for a nice area just for relaxation, and we'll be keeping it nice and clean and keeping all this compost to where it should be, right here in the potting shed. So I've finished the video there. I do hope you found this enjoyable and informative, and I do suggest if you do want to have fragrant bulbs in your home over Christmas, this is a really good way of doing it. I also have another video which was filmed a number of years ago on how to grow paper white daffodils indoors for indoor displays, and I'll just pop a link to that on the screen above so you can take a look at that as well. They're also really good fragrant flowers to be growing for the Christmas period too. So thanks again for watching. Please hit that like button, please subscribe. If you have any comments, please drop them as always in the comments box below, and we will see you very soon on the next video. In the meantime, happy gardening and please take care.